Aloud book is Honestly, Red Riding Hood Was Rotten. So this kind of has the same theme as our last book. Honestly, Jack's Beans or Trust Me, Jack's Beanstalk Stinks. So this book is about Red Riding Hood, as we can see, but it's told from the perspective of the wolf instead of Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood. So now we get to hear the wolf's side of the story. Let's see. Honestly, Red Riding Hood was rotten. By Trisha Speed Shaskin. Honestly, Red Riding Hood was rotten. And there she was, Little Red Riding Hood. She looked as plump and juicy as a big, sweet apple. Little Red waved her cape. "Isn't she pretty?" she said. "Yeah," I said. "Aren't I pretty?" she said. Was she admiring herself in that puddle? "With this cape," she said, "I'm even prettier than usual." Boy, someone sure was full of herself. My stomach growled. Uh-oh. He already said she's looking like an apple, and now his stomach is growling. I wonder what that's about. Little Red twirled a strand of hair. "Mother says the cape looks grand with my skin. My skin shines like pearls." Or the meat of a ripe apple, I thought, licking my chops. Remember, I hadn't eaten in weeks. Time to chomp. But then Little Red said, "I can't wait until Granny sees how pretty I am today. I'm bringing her cake and butter from my mother." My stomach howled. 2 meals, I thought. Granny for breakfast, Little Red for lunch, and cake butter for dessert. "Where does Granny live?" I asked. Little Red pointed. "Down there in the clearing, the brown house." I knew that house, and I had a plan. Uh-oh. "Let's play a game," I said. Little Red smiled. "I'm awesome at games." "I bet you are," I said. "You take this patch, I'll take that path. And let's see who arrives at Granny's first." "I will," she said. "I'm the prettiest and the fastest." "I bet you are," I said. My stomach moaned. Before it groaned, I ran. No one knows the forest like I do. I chose the shorter path. Sniff, sniff. I took a whiff. What was it? Apple air freshener? Tap, tap. I knocked on the door. "Who's there?" cried out a voice. "Your granddaughter," I squeaked. "I've brought you cake and butter from Mother." "Door's open," Granny said. She is in for it. She shouldn't have said that. Granny tugged at her nightcap. "Green," she said. "Isn't it pretty?" Pretty like a Granny Smith apple, I thought. "Aren't I pretty?" Granny said. "You must have heard the saying, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree." Well, it's true. Chomp, chomp. Or I'm sorry, my stomach roared. "What's that noise?" Granny asked. Chomp, chomp. I had to eat her. She was no Macintosh apple, but not too bad. I still feel kind of hungry. So he ate Granny. Tap, tap. Little Red knocked on the door. "Who's there?" I called out, crawling into Granny's bed. "Your granddaughter," Little Red said. "I've brought you cake and butter from Mother." "Door's open," I said. Little Red walked in and caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. "Isn't my cape pretty, Granny?" She said, "Aren't I pretty?" I clenched my teeth. "Granny," said Little Red, "what deep dark eyes I have." I said, "the color of apple seeds." "Granny," she said, "what perfect ears I have." I said, "shaped like sharply cut apple slices." "Granny," she said, "what pretty lips I have." I said, "red delicious." "Granny," she said, "what lovely skin I have." I ate her up. What can I say? Things look different when you're hungry. She was no Fuji or Crispin apple. In fact, to be honest, she was a bit rotten. But she was better than nothing. Plus, I got dessert. The end. This was a very interesting story. It kind of was like Red Riding Hood, but it was told from a different perspective. So what I want you all to do is close out of this video and fill out our somebody wanted but so then chart. Just like the one we did for Jack and the Beanstalk. I want you all to do this one for, honestly, Little Red Riding Hood was rotten. Again, if you need help filling out that chart, just go back to the last video and watch me fill it out again so that you know what to do. All right. Thank you kindly.